Imagine waking up one morning and everything you own fits in a single backpack. No bed to return to, no kitchen to cook in, no door to lock behind you. For thousands of people living on the streets, this isn't a nightmare. It's Tuesday, and somehow, against all odds, they're not just surviving. They're developing skills that would put survival experts to shame. I learned this firsthand while volunteering at a downtown shelter in Seattle. Marcus, a former construction worker who'd been on the streets for 3 years, once told me with a knowing smile, when they take everything from you, you learn real quick what you actually need to stay alive. Spoiler alert, it's a lot less than you think, but a lot harder than it looks. He wasn't kidding. The resilience and ingenuity I've witnessed in homeless communities would shock most people who've never had to think twice about where their next meal is coming from or where they lie sleep tonight. Let us talk about what really happens when everything is stripped away and how people find ways to keep going when the world seems determined to make them invisible. The first 48 hours, when survival mode kicks in, losing everything doesn't happen gradually for most people. It's usually sudden: a medical emergency, a job loss, an eviction notice. One day you're barely holding on, the next day you're holding nothing at all. The first 48 hours are what veteran street survivors call the shock period, and how you handle it often determines whether you'll make it through the first month. Your body goes into what scientists call acute stress response, the same biological reaction our ancestors had when facing life-threatening dangers. Your heart rate increases, your senses sharpen, and your brain shifts into survival mode. According to recent studies, nearly 67% of newly homeless individuals report experiencing symptoms similar to post-traumatic stress during their first week on the streets. It's not just scary, it's physiologically overwhelming. I met Sarah at a women's shelter, who described her first night on the street after losing her apartment. "I didn't sleep for even a minute," she recalled, her hands still trembling slightly at the memory. "Every sound was a threat, every shadow was danger. I sat with my back against a wall in a 24-hour laundromat, clutching my purse like it was the last thing connecting me to my old life." Which, I guess it was. The survival instinct kicks in faster than you'd imagine. Within hours, people start making critical decisions about what to keep and what to let go. That photo album from childhood. Too heavy, the sentimental jewelry, might need to sell it for food. The warm jacket, absolutely essential. It's like being forced to play a real-life version of a game where every choice matters, except the stakes are your actual survival. Experienced homeless folks I've talked to all say the same thing about those first 2 days. Your pride disappears fast. That voice in your head saying, "I can't and ask for help," or "I can't and dig through," that dumpster gets quieter with each passing hour of hunger. One man told me, "Dignity is a luxury item. On the streets, you learn real quick which luxuries you can afford and which ones will kill you." The priorities become crystal clear within 48 hours. Water first, always water, then shelter from the elements. Food comes third, though your stomach will argue otherwise. Safety is constant, threading through every decision like an invisible checklist. Where can I be without getting robbed? Where can I rest without getting attacked? Where can I exist without being moved along by police or security guards? The transformation is remarkable and heartbreaking. People who are teachers, nurses, veterans, parents, they all become students of the street within hours. And the curriculum is brutal, no textbooks, just trial and error where errors can have serious consequences. But those who make it through those first 48 hours, they've taken the first step in a journey that tests every limit of human endurance and creativity. Speaking of creativity, nothing tests it more than figuring out where you lay your head when the sun goes down and the temperature drops. Finding sleep, the nightly hunt for safety sleep, isn't just about rest when you're homeless, it's about survival. And finding a place to close your eyes without fear is like winning a small lottery every single night. The search usually starts around sunset, and if you haven't secured your spot by the time darkness falls, you're in trouble. The competition is real. Good sleeping spots are claimed faster than concert tickets. That warm grate outside the office building? Someone's been sleeping there for 6 months and they're not giving it up. The covered bus stop with the bench, already occupied by 3 people who got there at 5 p.m. According to homeless outreach workers, the average person experiencing street homelessness spends 2 to 3 hours each evening just searching for a safe place to sleep. I learned about sleeping spot strategy from an older veteran named Joe who'd been homeless for 5 years. He had a mental map of the entire downtown area, complete with ratings. That alcove by the closed bookstore, solid 7 out of 10, good cover from rain, not too visible to cops, but the morning cleanup crew comes through at 5 a.m. sharp. You gotta be gone by 4:45 or they'll kick you out, sometimes literally. The holy grail of sleeping spots has specific characteristics that homeless folks can list like a real estate agent describing a $1 million property. Good visibility so you can see threats coming, but not so visible that you attract unwanted attention. Protection from weather, especially wind and rain. Some kind of cushioning because concrete feels like sleeping on ice after a few hours. And most importantly, relative safety from theft and assault. Parking garages have become popular sleeping locations, especially the upper levels. The concrete retains heat from car engines during the day, making them slightly warmer at night. Plus, there's usually some overhead protection from weather. But you've got to be careful about security patrols and knowing which garages lock their pedestrian entrances after certain hours. The worst part isn't the physical discomfort, though that's brutal enough. It's the constant vigilance. Your brain never fully shuts down because deep sleep makes you vulnerable. Studies show that homeless individuals get an average of only 3 to 5 hours of sleep per night, compared to the recommended 7 to 9 hours. This chronic sleep deprivation affects everything from decision-making to immune system function. Everything you own is with you when you sleep because there's nowhere else to put it. People develop techniques like sleeping with their backpack as a pillow, wrapping bag straps around their arms, or keeping their shoes on in case they need to run. One guy showed me how he'd tie a string from his bag to his belt loop. Alarm system, he said with a tired smile. If someone tries to take it while I'm sleeping, I'll feel the tug. The community code around sleeping spots is surprisingly strong. Most homeless folks respect claimed territory, at least among regulars. If someone's been sleeping in a particular spot for weeks, others generally leave it alone. But newcomers don't always know the rules, and that's when conflicts happen. But even with a sleeping spot secured, you still need to protect yourself from people who might see you as an easy target. Which brings us to one of the most important survival skills on the streets. When you're living on the streets, safety isn't just a concern, it's a full-time job. People experiencing homelessness are almost 40 times more likely to be victims of violent crime. That's not just a statistic, it's a daily reality. The number one rule is situational awareness. Your head is constantly on a swivel, reading body language and assessing threats. Is that person scanning for a target or just passing through? You develop a kind of street intelligence, an early warning system shared within the community about dangerous people and places to avoid. The buddy system is also a lifesaver. Traveling in pairs or taking turns, sleeping provides a crucial layer of protection. For many, it's the only way to get any rest at all. Out here, being alone can make you prey. It's a constant, exhausting calculation of risk versus survival, where trusting the wrong person can have dire consequences. Whether survival, when nature tries to kill you, Mother Nature doesn't care if you're homeless or not. According to the CDC, extreme weather exposure causes hundreds of homeless deaths every year. Heat waves are brutal killers. When temperatures climb above 90 degrees, and you're wearing all your clothes because you have nowhere to store them, your body becomes an oven. Heat exhaustion and heat stroke sneak up on you. I met Robert during a summer heat advisory in Phoenix, where temperatures hit 115 degrees. You move in the morning before it gets hot, find your shade spot by 10 a.m., and you don't move again until after 6 p.m., he explained. and you drink water constantly, even when you're not thirsty, finding water becomes the primary mission during hot weather. Public fountains, sympathetic business owners, even fire hydrants that leak become lifelines. Dehydration kills faster than hunger. Public spaces with air conditioning become precious refuges. Libraries, shopping malls, big box stores, anywhere that's cool, the trick is looking like you belong. Browse the books, look at merchandise, keep moving enough that security doesn't notice. Cold weather presents different but equally deadly challenges. Hypothermia can set in when temperatures drop below 50 degrees, especially if you're wet or exposed to wind. Your body starts shutting down gradually, and you might not even realize it's happening. The layering techniques that homeless people develop would impress outdoor gear companies. Start with a thin base layer. Add insulation layers using anything available: newspapers, bubble wrap, plastic bags. Top it off with a windproof outer layer. "I am basically a homeless burrito," one man joked. Finding warm spots becomes a strategic game during winter. Heating vents from buildings, subway grates, warm exhaust from 24-hour businesses become premium locations. Some people time their movements to follow the sun as it shifts position throughout the day. Rain brings misery that's hard to describe. Everything gets wet: your clothes, your blankets, your possessions, and wet means cold. Staying dry becomes more important than staying warm because wet clothes can drop your body temperature dangerously fast. Wind is an often overlooked danger that makes every other weather condition worse. Wind chill can make a 40-degree day feel like 20 degrees. It blows away your makeshift shelters and finds every gap in your clothing. Some people become amateur meteorologists out of necessity. They watch cloud formations, field changes in wind direction, notice how animals behave before storms. One woman could predict rain 12 hours before it arrived just by watching how high the birds flew. Finding food, the daily hunt for calories. Hunger isn't just an empty stomach when you're homeless. It's a constant companion that affects every decision, every movement, every thought. According to Feeding America, 67% of homeless individuals report going without food for an entire day at least once per month. The meal schedule of someone living on the streets revolves entirely around where free food is available. Soup kitchens become anchor points, but most cities don't have nearly enough. Lines start forming an hour or more before opening time. Timing is everything. Monday morning at this church, Tuesday lunch at that community center, Wednesday dinner at the shelter 6 blocks east. People carry mental calendars more detailed than most business people's schedules. "I know where every free meal is served within 3 miles, explained Marcus. The quality of food varies wildly. Some serve hot, nutritious meals. Others provide whatever donated items they have, which might mean peanut butter sandwiches 3 days in a row. You eat what's available and you're grateful for it." Restaurant dumpsters become grocery stores for many homeless people. You learn which restaurants throw out food that's still perfectly good, which bakeries dump day-old bread, which grocery stores toss produce with minor blemishes. The waste in America is staggering. But dumpster diving comes with risks. Food poisoning is a real danger. Some restaurants pour bleach on their dumpster food to prevent people from taking it. Security guards and police sometimes cite people for trespassing. Panhandling for food money creates its own challenges. Location matters. Stand outside a grocery store and people might give you $1. The honesty of your sign matters too. Hungry, anything helps tends to work better than elaborate stories. Some people get creative with food acquisition. Taking condiment packets from fast food places. Nursing a cup of coffee for hours to access bathrooms and maybe snag leftover pastries. Churches provide a huge portion of free meals, but they often come with conditions. You might have to sit through a service before eating. Some people don't mind, others feel it's coercive. God's love comes with a side of guilt trip. One man said bitterly, "Constant hunger affects everything. Your energy drops, your immune system weakens. Your mental clarity suffers, your mood becomes increasingly desperate. Certain foods become especially valuable. Peanut butter is like gold. One small jar can provide several days' worth of protein and fat. Crackers, chips, anything that stays good without refrigeration. Canned goods are great if you can open them. Sharing food is common. Someone gets a good haul, they'll share with others nearby. It's survival insurance. Today I help you, tomorrow when I'm hungry, maybe you'll remember. Staying clean, hygiene without running water. Imagine going a week without a shower. Now imagine that's your normal. Personal hygiene becomes a complex puzzle. Poor hygiene leads to infections and health problems that can spiral quickly. Public restrooms become precious resources, but not all are created equal. Fast food places often require purchase codes. Libraries allow access but limit how long you can stay. Parks have outdoor facilities that close after dark. The morning cleanup routine would shock most people. A sink, some paper towels, and whatever soap is available becomes your entire bathroom. People develop incredible efficiency, washing face, underarms, and other key areas in less than 5 minutes. Staying clean serves multiple purposes. Looking relatively clean makes it easier to enter businesses and avoid harassment. The cleaner I look, the more invisible I am, explained one man. Laundry presents its own challenges. When you own 2 or 3 outfits total, washing them means either going without while they dry or wearing wet clothes. Some people wash clothes in public bathroom sinks. Dental hygiene suffers tremendously. Toothbrushes and toothpaste aren't high priority when you're choosing between food and oral care. Dental problems, gum disease, tooth loss become epidemic among homeless populations. Women face additional hygiene challenges. Menstruation without access to supplies creates situations that are undignified and unhealthy. Having to choose between buying tampons or food is a monthly reality. Feet become a major concern when you're walking miles every day in inadequate shoes. Blisters, infections, fungal problems become serious issues. Many develop foot problems that make mobility increasingly difficult. The mental health impact of poor hygiene shouldn't be overlooked. Feeling dirty erodes your sense of dignity and self-worth. Some people give up trying to stay clean, which increases isolation and deepens depression. Shelters sometimes distribute hygiene kits. A fresh bar of soap, a new toothbrush, small things that make you feel slightly more human. Keeping your mind together. Mental survival. The psychological toll of homelessness is brutal and often invisible. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, approximately 30% of people experiencing chronic homelessness have mental health conditions. But living on the streets will test even the most psychologically stable person. The isolation hits harder than the hunger sometimes. Being surrounded by people but feeling completely alone, invisible. I watched a man try to make eye contact with passing pedestrians for 10 minutes. Not one person met his eyes. Boredom becomes a genuine enemy. There are long stretches of nothing to do. Nowhere to go, no job to fill your day. The hours stretch endlessly. Libraries become sanctuaries for mental health as much as physical comfort. They offer books, internet access, and most importantly, a purpose. You're not just a homeless person sitting somewhere. You're a person using the library. Some people develop routines that provide structure. Wake at sunrise, walk to this spot, have breakfast at the church, spend midday at the library. The routine itself becomes comforting. Maintaining hope is perhaps the hardest mental challenge. When every day is a struggle, believing that things can get better requires almost superhuman mental strength. Yet many homeless people cling to dreams of housing and jobs with fierce determination. Substance abuse becomes a way to cope for many people. When you're cold, hungry, scared, and hopeless, drugs or alcohol offer temporary escape. About 38% of homeless people struggle with alcohol dependency and 26% with drug abuse. The trauma accumulates daily. Witnessing violence, experiencing assault, constant fear leaves psychological scars. Without access to mental health services, people carry these traumas with no outlet. Some find solace in spirituality, prayer, meditation, talking to God costs nothing and provide comfort. Others form bonds with animals, finding companionship that humans haven't provided. Mental health resources available to homeless people are woefully inadequate. Long waiting lists, facilities that turn away people who need help most. The system is broken. The community survival through connection. Here's what most people don't understand about homelessness. It's not a solitary experience. There's an entire community on the streets, informal networks of people who watch out for each other. Information sharing saves lives. Where the cops are doing sweeps, which shelter has bed bugs, what business just threw out good food. These communications travel through homeless networks faster than social media. The code of the streets includes unspoken rules. You don't steal from another homeless person. You don't claim someone else's regular sleeping spot. You share information about resources and dangers. Watching out for each other extends to physical safety. If someone vulnerable is being harassed, others often intervene. If someone's sick, the community rallies to help. I witnessed homeless men carry an elderly woman 6 blocks to a clinic. Nicknames are common, allowing people to maintain privacy while still being part of the community. Chicago, Doc, Lucky. These names become identities separate from whoever they used to be. Celebrations happen even in desperate circumstances. Someone's birthday brings extra food shared around. Small victories like getting accepted to housing are celebrated. Holidays are marked with whatever resources people can gather. Experienced members mentor newcomers, which cops to avoid, which shelters are safe, how to stay warm. This knowledge transfer happens organically. Some homeless communities organize themselves impressively. They establish leaders, create rules, develop systems for sharing resources. These informal governments arise naturally when people need structure. The relationships formed are complicated, born of necessity but often grow into genuine friendship. People who've lost connection to housed family find new family among those who understand. Technology has changed dynamics. Those with phones use them to stay connected and share information. Social media groups provide real-time updates about resources, but perhaps the most powerful aspect is simply not being alone. Having people who see you, know your name, and care whether you make it through the night, that's everything. The reality, surviving isn't living after everything we've talked about. We need to acknowledge a hard truth. Surviving on the streets isn't the same as living. It's existing in crisis mode constantly. The skills homeless people develop are impressive, but they shouldn't have to develop them. No one should have to become an expert at sleeping on concrete or reading which strangers are dangerous. These survival strategies work. Sort of, they keep people alive when everything is stacked against them. But they come at tremendous cost. The physical toll accumulates. The psychological damage deepens. What's remarkable isn't that homeless people develop these survival skills. What's remarkable is that they have to. In one of the wealthiest countries in the world, thousands are living like survival experts not by choice, but by circumstance. The resilience is real, the ingenuity is genuine. The community bonds are powerful, but none of it should be necessary. These survival skills are symptoms of a system failing its most vulnerable people. When you walk past someone experiencing homelessness now, maybe you'll see them differently. Not as someone who gave up, but as someone fighting a daily battle for survival. They're not just surviving, they're maintaining their humanity in circumstances designed to strip it away. They're finding connection in isolation. They're keeping hope alive when every day tries to extinguish it. And maybe, instead of being impressed by their survival skills, we should be horrified that they need them. Because the real question isn't how do homeless people stay alive when everything is taken away. The real question is why do we live in a society that takes everything away? These survival stories are inspiring, but they're also an indictment. Every creative sleeping spot strategy is a policy failure. Every brilliant food-finding technique represents a gap in our safety net. Every coping mechanism is a service that should have been provided. So yes, homeless people have amazing survival skills. They've mastered things most of us hopefully never have to learn. Their resilience and creativity are real, but they shouldn't have to be survival experts. They should just be people with homes and food and safety and dignity. The fact that they've had to become street survival masters isn't a heartwarming tale. It's a tragedy we've normalized. The next time you see someone experiencing homelessness, remember, they're not failing at life. They're succeeding at survival in a system that's failed them, and that makes all the difference.